We have waited 2 years for this, but The Mandalorian finally continues with Season 3. And I don't know about you, but I'm completely satisfied with the first episode. So let's not waste any time and start right away with all the Easter eggs, background knowledge and references. The episode begins in a cave with the armorer. In the background we see the classic symbol of the Mandalorians, a mythosaur. Huge creatures from the planet Mandalore on which the ancient Mandalorians are said to have ridden. Anyway, we then see the armorer working on a Mandalorian helmet for a young candidate of the Way of Mandalore. I strongly suspect that he is a member of House Whistler, because the crest of his house is shown here and the color scheme of the helmet matches the armor of Paz Whistler, possibly his father and successor of Pre-Whistler, the leader of the Death Watch at the times of the Clone Wars, as well as Ter Whistler, which I think will become important later this season. By the way, I think it's cool here that the same hissing sound was used when putting on the helmet as for Darth Vader back then. But the ceremony doesn't go quite smoothly though, as it's interrupted by a giant crocodile dinosaur turtle thing, and it looks like the Mandalorians are in serious trouble. I guess they are not the warrior people of the old days after all, who rode creatures of this scale, and now no one can seem to slay the beast. Not Paz Whistler, not the armorer, but Mando, who shows up at just the right moment with his new modified N1 starfighter from Naboo, and Grogu is there too. What? At the end of last season, didn't Luke Skywalker take Grogu with him? Yes, that's true. However, in the book of Boba Fett we were shown Luke training Grogu a bit, but then giving him a choice. Does he want to become a Jedi or a Mandalorian? To which Grogu chose the obvious. By the way, and here I'm proud of myself, I already said 2 years ago that Grogu cannot become a Jedi, because we knew from Star Wars books that Ben Solo was the first apprentice in Luke's new Jedi Order, and that happened chronologically 6 years after the events of Season 2. By the way, in the series we also see Mando getting his new ship. In any case, Mando and the armorer have a conversation, which we have already seen in a similar way in the book of Boba Fett, that Din is no longer a Mandalorian because he has taken off his helmet. By the way, I will also explain in this video why Bo-Katan always takes off her helmet and it doesn't seem to be a problem for her. But first things first. Mando can only redeem himself in the mines of Mandalore, which is supposedly no longer possible because Mandalore was destroyed by the Empire in the Night of 1,000 Years. Don't worry, there will be a detailed video on this in the days to come. But Din is determined to go to Mandalore to try anyway. But before that, he has to do something. He jumps into hyperspace, and that brings us straight to my favorite scene of this episode. Because there we actually see Purgils, whale-like highly intelligent creatures that live in space and can travel through the hyperspace. In fact, they inspired the technology of hyperspace navigation in the first place. I can't say if they will play a bigger role in The Mandalorian, but definitely in the upcoming Ahsoka series, since Thrawn, who Ahsoka is looking for, was pulled into the unknown regions by Purgils all along with Ezra. Anyway, Mando goes to Nevarro and wow, the planet has changed a lot compared to the first season. Not only does everything not look too run down anymore, but the Kovakian monkey lizards are allowed to live freely and are no longer eaten. The reason for this is Nevarro's convenient location on the Hydean trade route, which was already mentioned in countless books in Star Wars Legends. By the way, here we can also see this cutting droid like in the book of Boba Fett, only this time he doesn't go full General Grievous mode. In general, here are a lot of details, whether it's a droid from the R4 or EV series, you know, Jabba's torture droid, but we also see Mon Calamari, Twi'leks, Grants and whatever this is. Exactly the alien diversity I missed in Andor or Kenobi. But enough beating around the bush. Mando is not here for fun. He wants to talk to Greef Karga, while Grogu is having the time of his life in that rotating chair. However, their conversation is interrupted by pirates, who want to cause some trouble. Again, I think it's great that we have Nikto, Weequay, Trandoshans, Klatooinians and even Macroran. That diversity is what makes Star Wars. They discuss a bit while Din watches, and of course the situation escalates, which Greef Karga solves more or less peacefully at first, but later Mando has to intervene to sort everything out. But back to Mando's request. By the way, how great are these little droids that are only here to support Karga's cape? Along the way, they talk about how Cara Dune was assigned to a New Republic Special Forces unit, which I think is a great approach to remove the character from the show after the critical statements made by Gina Carano, the actress. But also about Moff Gideon being in the New Republic prison, although I hope he will still play a role in this season. Anyway, Karga wants Mando to be Navarro's marshal, but he wants IG-11 to join him on his mission to Mandalore, which I see as a very interesting twist considering how much Mando hated droids in the beginning. However, after his heroics at the end of season 1, IG-11 was turned into a statue, and even trying to fix him only triggered his old bounty hunter protocol, which is why he goes after Grogu. They can't fix him, but the Ancelans should be able to do. Yes, exactly. The same species as Babu Frick from episode 9. And what can I say? I just love the little ones. Especially since they are not CGI, but are each portrayed by 3 puppeteers. I think that's just great. But Grogu, I think, is not much interested in the repair as he is just happy to have made new friends his size. The Ancelans say that the droid needs a new memory circuit, which will probably send Mando on some kind of side quest before the main quest moves on. Once away from Navarro, Mando is attacked by pirates in space, and a really good and serious space battle occurs, which I kind of felt like we haven't seen in a while. Of course, Mando finishes off the pirates, the last one luring him into a trap, this ship by the way being heavily inspired by the Eclipse Star Destroyers from Star Wars Legends, but our hero escapes the pirate leader with ease thanks to his new ship. Next stop, Kalevala. That's right, the homeworld of Satine and Bo-Katan Kryze, which you probably only know if you've been paying exact attention in the Clone Wars. Because Satine was never the Duchess of Mandalore, but of Kalevala. Because even though Mandalore was the main planet, the more powerful houses had their own planets in the Mandalore system. House Wren had Crown Nest, and House Kryze this world with its Mandalorian fortress. And since Duchess Satine was killed by Darth Maul during the Clone Wars, Bo-Katan sits on the throne. She does tell Mando that the mines of Mandalore are under Suduri, the capital of Mandalore, but she doesn't seem too pleased to see him. Because you must know that before the time of the Empire, Bo-Katan was the leader of the Mandalorians. Then she wasn't for a short period, and then she was again. I don't want to go too far into it, because as I said there will be a separate video on that. But in short, she needs the Darksaber, which is in Mando's possession, so that the other Mandalorians are loyal to her. That is important in Bo-Katan's Mandalorian beliefs. Also that she can only get ownership of the sword if she defeats the previous owner in combat. That's why she didn't accept the sword when Mando wanted to give it to her. For him it's not important because he belongs to the Children of the Watch, an extremist subgroup that emerged from the Death Watch, a terrorist organization during the Clone Wars. That's why it's so relevant for Mando that he had taken off his helmet, which on the other hand is no problem for Bo-Katan. Yes, they are both Mandalorians, but have 2 completely different beliefs, and that's what I'm looking forward to this season. Not only do we get to see more Mando and Grogu action, but we also get to learn more about the Mandalorians, their culture and society, so we can get better understanding of this great warrior people who have shaped the history of the galaxy. I hope you will join me on this journey because there will be breakdowns like this for you every week. If you can't wait until then, I've linked another video of mine here. Thanks for watching and may the Force be with you.